Very excited about this session. One of my favorite L&Ders in the world, Nick Floro. Amazing apps to leap forward with creativity, workflows, and collaboration. Just so you guys know, Nick has been doing this for years. Has been sharing like these incredible workflows, these incredible systems that he has developed for what he does in L&D, which he is an amazing producer and with Sealworks. And if you have ever seen his rig, his work setup, it is I actually just thinking about it is like gives me goosebumps. It's breathtaking. It's absolutely amazing. When I wish I had that picture to pop up on the screen, Nick, of that time that you sent over what your desktop setup looks like. So today, this is going to be a great session. Amazing apps to leap forward with creativity, workflows, and collaboration. Nick, I'm going to just let you take it away.
All right, thanks, Lewis. Hey, everybody. So what we're going to do over the next 40 minutes or so is dump a bunch of different apps for your phone, your tablet, and your computer that you can look to use in your everyday workflow to create, manage, and design different elements. So part of my job as a learning architect is to help stakeholders understand the technology and figure out the different possibilities. I've got a couple different screens, so we're going to try a couple different interesting things, but my main goal here is to give you access to all these different programs, and some are free, some are a couple of dollars, most of them have a trial. Your job over the next week or so is to pick one or two and start to play and think about how you can work them into your workflow. You might give one or two to a teammate, you might give it to a friend, but the idea is to start to experiment and think about how you can update your everyday workflow to be better, to be able to be more creative and have fun. So first we start off with tools to define, and everything I give you here, I'll give you a link at the end to download a PDF as well as a link to all the different resources so you can get to all the different apps. Feel free to chat and we'll look and see what's possible here. So the first app is a free one. It works on iOS and Android. It's called Office Lens. It's from Microsoft, and it really shows how Microsoft has kind of pivoted over the last couple of years to really build cool tools that help us do things better. So Office Lens, you open it up on your phone or your tablet. It's all free. And basically, you point your camera at a document. So on the left, you see a document that's on a slight angle. And when you hit the snap button, it automatically straightens it out. Here you see an example of a board. It automatically straightens it out. So this is priceless when you're working at home doing a sketch and you need to share it with a teammate. We can't all be in the same room. So this is a great way to quickly be able to grab a photo without having to, jigger something around or move something around to try to get that picture just right. So this helps you automate that. So here you see an example of my desk. I've got 3 business cards on it, all kind of overlapping. I select the business card filter at the bottom. It automatically sees it. It recognizes the size, and you can see within about a second, it automatically straightens it out. So it makes it really easy. What's great then is you can also then just email that, save it as a photo, or drop it into an Office document to share with someone. So it really makes that whole process easier. Something that I do as a designer is use sticky notes all the time, and being remote from home or in a room by myself now, I will often just throw those stickies on my desk or the wall behind me. You can see a board behind me. And one of the apps that I use to go from that physical world to a digital world is the Post-it app, which is a couple of dollars. It's $5. It's available for iOS and Android, and basically it allows you to take your digital notes and it will convert them, or your physical notes, and convert them to a digital note. What's great about this is that once it's converted it and it's just taking a picture, it automatically recognizes all your stickies and it lets you rearrange them. This is a great way to make the jump. I'm going to show you even a cooler tool in a little bit. Another app that blows my mind, and I often forget how to take advantage of it, is the Google app. And we're all used to Googling content, but if you use the Google app, you can also use the camera mode. So when you open up the Google app, this is free for iOS and Android, you can hit the camera mode, and here you see a picture of me taking a snapshot of my sneaker or my boot. And what it does then is it'll recognize that element and search the web and look for something that's close. So if you're not sure, you see a friend's shoe and you like it, or you have a physical product that you want to figure out who made it or whatever, here's me taking a picture of my Tigger cup, and you can see it'll link me back to where I got it, or what it is if I forgot what it was, or I want to share that with a colleague. So really great just to have that ability to snap a photo and do a search without having to manually describe it or play around with search results. All right, so we're going to shift over to tools to communicate. And a lot of us are using Slack. We may be using Microsoft Teams within our organization. Again, Microsoft is something that is impressing me over the last 2 or 3 years, because what they're doing to make their tools better designed. And Teams has grown a lot over the last 2 years. It's starting to pop up in more and more organizations. And what's great is that with all these different platforms, you're able to not only video chat, you're able to type a note, you're able to upload a graphic or an object, a PDF or a PowerPoint document, and be able to share and collaborate on that. Internally, we're a smaller team. We use Slack, and I know TLDC has a Slack channel as well. If you're not on there, you want to join that. And it allows everyone just to kind of chat directly or connect within a channel to exchange information. And it's really helpful when you're working on a project to add a link or add a note to explain what the current status is or what the conversation was about. Where do I test it? How do I get to it? And how do I move through it? So here's a snapshot of my chat with TLDC. And what's great is you can add a comment, you can add a note, you can use emojis, you can add GIFs. Just about anything you can pop in there. What's also really cool about Slack, like Microsoft Teams, is that you can share your screen. So I can call you directly if we're in the same channel or the same organization, and it could be audio, it could be video, it could be screen sharing, and that's how we connect internally with our teammates day to day. Another really cool app that is growing is a product called Stand-Uply, and we use this within Slack, but basically it automates the ideal that you would have in an agile development model where you have a stand-up at the end of the day where everyone kind of reports what they did, what they're doing tomorrow, and if they had any blockers. So this helps communicate that through Slack, where it asks those questions, and I believe they also have a tie-in now into Teams. Another really cool one that's been launched over the last year, and it's free, is Hallway Chat. And this connects into Slack. I believe they also have a Teams program now. And basically, everyone's looking to connect these apps together. But this will automatically create a meeting like you ran into someone in the hallway. And it's like, hey, everyone in this channel, let's go into a virtual meeting, and you can turn audio or video on. And it's just nice to be able to connect with others and hear their kids screaming too, or their kids are behaved. What are they doing right as a parent? How do I learn? So it's fun to kind of have that opportunity to run into someone in the virtual world that we're living in right now from day to day. The other app that I use every day is Zoom, and I really love Zoom because as a designer, it helps me to communicate feedback. So here you see in the lower left, Molly, Rich, and I. On the right, you see us sharing a document and we're working through it. My favorite feature in Zoom is using my tablet. I can use my pencil and I can actually draw on my screen. And this makes it a lot easier to give feedback. So if we're working together and I want to give some indication of what we're going to be doing to improve the design or improve the user experience, I can highlight elements, I can draw on it, I can screen grab it, but it just helps to speed up the whole process so I don't have to take over and share my screen. As you're sharing, we're able to communicate and talk about or brainstorm other concepts. And that's a real plus to me for Zoom. And none of the other platforms that I played with offer that same ability in the context of sharing. One of the other cool things that we're seeing everyone jump into, Zoom has a new feature called Zaps that'll be launching this year. They're currently in beta, but what it's going to allow us to do is create a more seamless environment. So if I use Slack or Jira, rather than giving a link within a screen share, everyone will be able to see that within the context of the meeting. So it's not as disjoining. If a user gets launched into a new browser window, it makes it a lot easier to connect those dots together. Another really cool app that you can actually use for free for a certain number of minutes every month is called Otter AI, and it basically allows you to take any audio and automatically transcribe it. So I can be recording a meeting that I have permission to record. I've got to ask everyone's permission live, and it will automatically transcribe it. They have integrations with Zoom, and Microsoft has a similar feature, Google has a similar feature, but they can actually use it for real-time transcripts as well as markers. So if I want to look at the part where a stakeholder is talking about the new colors that we need to use, I can highlight or search for that in the text, and it will automatically jump me back to that audio. So I can either read it or I can listen to it. And that's really priceless. What's great about Otter AI is it's a web-based app. It works on your phone, your tablet, or your computer, and it integrates with several different platforms. So it might be something that you want to start to experiment to make it easier for you to capture notes, so you don't have to manually write down everything. It's saving us a lot of time and making it easier to share with other teammates different reference points to information. Coda is a brand new app or platform that we discovered late last year, and it's quickly becoming one of my favorite platforms. Basically, it's similar to a Google Doc and a Microsoft Office Word doc, but it allows you to integrate different components within it. And what does that mean? So that means that you can quickly create a document. You can add a YouTube video, you can add a graphic, you can add a PowerPoint or a PDF just by dragging and dropping. But what's really cool is that as you add these different pages, it's almost like taking the time to create web pages. It'll automatically index them and connect them together. You can quickly format just by using the highlighter at the top. So I can say bold, italic. So as a architect, I don't have to worry so much about the code element. I'm able just to quickly highlight and think about how do I make it easier for my team to understand what we're sharing. What's also really cool is you can now add buttons so that I can say if a user hits this button, trigger several different tasks. So I can integrate with Zapier, which is Z-A-P-I-E-R, and I can have it trigger different commands. So if you click that button, I can automatically have you enroll in the upcoming TLDC event, or sign up for a new form, or link you somewhere else, which is pretty cool. What you can also do, here you see an audio playing and how that works. And here's how you see the button works. But what's also really great is that you can embed a Google spreadsheet or an Office document or any other Miro document, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, and you can actually view and work within that document in the context of the page. So I don't have to open up a new browser window, and that saves a lot of time. What's cool about that too is that if I update the spreadsheet, it's actually updating the live spreadsheet. So if I create a document that connects all these other elements that different teammates have to use, I can update it from this one portal or page, and that saves me a lot of time because I don't have to manage or open up all those other elements. So just imagine how that can smoothen out the workflow and make it easier for you to connect with different teammates in the tools that they need. And that's really exciting to me. Collaboration is another big area that we look for tools every day. So if you haven't worked with someone in a live Google document or a Microsoft document, that's step one. Like, do that on Monday. I'm sure everyone's pretty much done that already. What's cool about that is that I can be working on the first sentence while you're working on the second, or we can be collaborating and working on an email or a summary of the meeting or what we're going to be doing over the next week. I do this all the time with my team. Another tool that I use is Dropbox Paper. We use Dropbox internally for managing assets, but I can also use Paper, and this is a resource that I'm going to share with you in a little bit. It's free, and it allows you to quickly assemble. So we're in the process of moving to Confluence and Jira, but Paper is kind of my default document. And what I loved about Paper when we started using it a couple years ago was that I can quickly drag and drop graphics. I can drop in a video, and Coda does this, but it adds that component level now. And you can start to take notes and you can format it really quick. So I don't have to worry about how do I do this or how do I do that. I can focus on the purpose of that meeting or that agenda that we're working through. So I can quickly add bullets and work through it. What's also cool is that I can sketch something and drop it into the document as a graphic. Along the left-hand side, you have the ability to quickly jump to any of the headers. So here you see an example of some notes that we took back in 2018. So looking at this log, I can quickly look at all the different meetings that we had and all the different decision points that we made over the project there. Now, this is the magic screen that you want to screen grab, and these are different tools that allow you to collaborate in real time with your team. We use Miro every day, and yes, I will be making the presentation available as a PDF, so I'll throw that in there, and you'll have a link in a little bit. Miro is great. Mural is another one that is really good if you're facilitating meetings. A couple of the smaller ones, Lucid Spark is a brand new one that launched late last year. Google has Jamboard, which works within the Google Classrooms, and it's much more simpler. And Envision has a great product called Freehand if you're doing sketching. I love Miro because it works on my phone, my tablet, and my computer. And if we're facilitating a meeting, we can be all working in that same document at the same time. At the end of the session, I'll open up a Miro where we can actually look and you can get access to all the resources. But here you see an example where Mark is editing the title. Michelle can be working on the graphics down below. I could be working on the text on the side. But what's great is that everyone can be working within the same document and it's visual. There are hundreds of templates available. So it's a great way to pull people together. It also supports audio and video. So rather than setting up another tool, you can actually do this all within the Miro platform. So here you see 4 different people working on 4 branches of this project in the area that they're working. And what's great is that you can pan out and you can have different elements like a YouTube video, a Kanban board, a timeline, some different Word documents or PDFs, and it's just as simple as dragging and dropping. There's lots of different sticky notes and colors and emojis, but what's great is that everyone can be working at the same time, and what I love about it is that as my team has adopted it over the last year, as I start to think of things and throw up some stickies, teammates will start to grab them and start to organize them or start to sketch out different concepts, and it's just so cool. Rather than saying, hey, Sophia, why don't you do a sketch of that? She's already doing it in real time, and other teammates are doing that too. And it's just so empowering that we're focusing on being creative rather than how do I get that list that we're talking about and where do I find that document? Everything is just there and we're able to collaborate. So Miro, highly recommended. If you go to Miro.com, you can check it out. One other really cool thing you can do is that there are a bunch of apps that work within it. So this is that board that's behind me. And if I take a picture of that within Miro, I can automatically convert it like the Post-it app to stickies. And this will do one more thing where it actually converts my scribbles to actual handwriting. So I can not only move all the stickies around and reorganize them, but I can highlight the copy and correct my misspelling or change our focus. And to me, that's priceless to have that flexibility and make it easier for our team to be able to access that. So, some tools to manage. We work in an agile method and we use a Kanban board as our style. So the basic ideal there is that you have a to-do list, in progress, and complete. Anything that's not ready goes into the backlog. So a stakeholder might say, we have 100 things that we want to do for Monday's launch. Being realistic, we can't really do that much between a Friday and a Monday. So those elements will go into a backlog and they'll get scheduled for an upcoming sprint. So the idea was that we decide on what our to-do list is for this next release. These are the elements that are currently in progress. These are the elements that are completed, and different teammates will come in to check or test and validate them, and anything that can't make it will go into the backlog. So we look for tools that help us do that, and one of my favorite is Trello. Which is available for free in a basic level where you can work with several people and start to track an upcoming project. This is great if you're working on a little side hustle or you're working with a nonprofit, or even if you just want to test it with your team. It helps to kind of figure out the different possibilities. But you can see it uses those columns, and within that you have a bunch of different tasks. Within a task you can add links, you can add graphics, you can add status, you can have due dates, and it helps to facilitate that. The tool that we had used over 2019 to 2020 was Asana, and that works really well. It's got a beautiful design. It lets you work in the mode that you want, so you can work in the Kanban style, you can work in a spreadsheet mode, and it just shifts the data into the mode that you want to work in. We moved from Asana to Jira because our technical team wanted to be more technical and integrate with the back-end programming that we do. So that's the primary platform that we now have adopted internally. But again, you want to test and play. One of the other plugins that I discovered is a product called Instagant, which is up in the upper left. And this app will allow you to take your data from Trello, from Asana, from Jira, and it will automatically create a Gantt chart. What I love about this is that we don't have a dedicated person that works full-time on a Gantt chart because we're focusing on creative and technology. So we can use Instagant to translate all of our elements within a board to a beautiful Gantt chart that some stakeholders may want or require for the project process. So that's a nice little shortcut that we discovered to help connect those different elements together. And you can see an example here of what it looks like when you export it as a PDF. I believe you can even pull it over into a Microsoft product as well. One of the other great things is whether you're using Microsoft's OneDrive or Box or Dropbox or Google Drive, is that all the tools now allow you to quickly create a link. So here we see an example of a folder in my Dropbox where I can right-click on a document, and you'll notice since I'm using Dropbox, I now have the ability to say copy Dropbox link. And what's great about that is that I can quickly take any object that I have in my folder and share it with a teammate or someone outside of our organization if I turn that on. And that makes it really easy for me to share a video, share a document, share a presentation that we might be working on together, and I can shoot that over in chat, and it makes it easy for us to move data. In the old days, we'd have to upload it to a server or upload it to an FTP, and then get a link or get access for you, and then shoot that over. And it just took so much time. And now we're able just to quickly right-click, copy, and send. Another really cool tool I discovered is a website called Blink, which is bl.ink. And this app allows you to go in and quickly take a long URL and brand it. So rather than saying dropbox.com/blah, blah, 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 with a bunch of letters and so on, I can change it to be sealworks.team/TLDC or new presentation or whatever I want. And as long as I haven't used that word already, I'm able to quickly brand that, and you're able to link to that. So it makes it easier for someone that's attending an event to understand that link and quickly jot it down or write it down to connect with or share it. Another great app I discovered through Bianca at the eLearning Guild was My Calendly. And this is a great app if you work with a lot of external partners where you need to be able to set up a meeting. You can have different time estimates, and it can connect to your calendar, but I can share a copy link with you. And by clicking that, you're able to see 60-minute spaces that are available on my calendar, and you can book a meeting through Zoom. And this saves a lot of time. You can also say add times to email, and it will automatically copy whatever dates you've selected and pop that into the little email that you've created, and a user can then just click and grab that time slot, which again just saves a lot of time rather than saying on Monday I'm free from 9 to 12 and so on. Some other really great tools to create. One of my favorite is remove.bg, which is remove background. So this is a free resource that you can do to quickly remove a graphic. So here you see an example of a slide that I have of a Stream Deck, and just by taking that graphic and dragging it inside of the window, it automatically removes all of the background information. So this one happened to be on white, which is really cool. Then you can download it. So here's a little fuzzy character from one of the kids at home, and you can see when I drop that in, it will automatically silhouette it, and it takes about 5 seconds. And then you can actually go in and you can use the built-in erase tool to get rid of a little bit of noise or information. You can even take it a step further and put in a funky background if you happen to be working with kids or some interesting graphics. I usually take the clean version and bring it into PowerPoint, or Keynote is my favorite program for presenting, and it allows me to quickly do that. So you can take advantage of that for free. If you want to get super high-res graphics, like if you're working for print, there is a paid version, but for most of the time, it allows you to do it really quick. If you don't have a second monitor, if you're moving around the house, a lot of us can use our tablet as a second monitor. A monitor runs about 100 to 200 bucks nowadays, and there are more expensive ones, but for average to throw Slack on there or email or other elements, it's really great to have that ability to add a monitor. You can also get monitors now that are super flat and small, like a tablet, so you can actually use it. So this was my setup last year that Lewis was mentioning, where I have 6 monitors. I actually just changed it over the last couple months to be a little bit less big and make it easier for me to move and focus on where my camera is. And I'll upload a picture later on to that. But just shows you how you can use different things. And I love it because I don't have to be moving windows and shuffling things. I have all my data that I need in front of me, and I'm able to better manage and or orchestrate what we're doing or how we're doing it when we're architecting a new program. A laptop is a great ideal too. You can use a secondary computer as a way to connect different resources. That's a great ideal. Another really cool piece of hardware, this one runs about 100 bucks, is called Elgato Stream Deck, and this allows you to quickly assign keys or keyboard shortcuts or different commands to this little physical device. So this sits next to your keyboard or next to your laptop, and when you trigger it, it can turn your lights on. So I actually have one here that'll turn my lights on, so I'll get a little bit brighter, I can hit it, I get a little bit darker, I can turn my microphone off or my video on or off, and it just helps to automate. So I use this all the time with Adobe XD, with Miro, and rather than memorizing Command XYZ, I'm able to hit the button and do whatever I need to do, and you can quickly change it just by dragging and dropping. They also have an XL version if you want more buttons or more commands, so you can take advantage of that. They also have an app that you can plug into your iPad or Android device which will allow you to trigger it from that device if you have that. This is the back room, which the kids had in the office here, and just shows you how easy it is today to quickly set up a green screen or use green paint. You can add some lights for $20 to $200, and it allows you to quickly create interesting backgrounds and things happening if you need to capture that to share with a teammate or to use in a learning program. One of my favorite programs, which is free, is obsproject.com. This is available for Mac and Windows, and it basically allows you to turn your computer, whether it's a laptop or a workstation, into a full broadcast studio. And what's great is that it is free. You install it, and then you're able to map different devices. So in this case, I have a PowerPoint slide deck behind me, and I'm using a green screen to paint that out, and the camera is right there, but you're able to quickly record a video and then export it. And this saves lots of time, where a couple years ago, this could have cost thousands of dollars to produce in a studio or to recompose it within a program like After Effects. And today, the tools have gotten so flexible that you're able to do this in real time on your couple $100 laptop or even your tablet, depending on the tool that you choose. This next app is crazy, and it's called clipdrop.co, and it works on your phone, and it connects back to your computer. But all you do is, you see me here using my phone, I'm pointing it at the iPad, and it will pull out of a live image, kind of like Office Note. It'll pull a document, it'll pull a visual of whatever's there and silhouette it for you. So here it grabbed the tablet off my messy desk and allowed me to bring it into my presentation. Here I'm going to grab the water bottle, so I just hit the clip button and it syncs to my computer, and now I have a water bottle on my desk that I can use in a presentation. So this allows you, I think it's free to do up to 5 images, and then it's like $5 to buy it, and then they have a subscription model if you're going to do a lot of it. I found that if you do it once, it's worth it, and it saves you time of manually doing it, and it's just so cool if you need to grab, if you're working with physical hardware for your training, where you need to grab something and you don't have time to set up a green screen or a whole studio, or you're just mocking it up, it's priceless then. Another really cool app is Double Take. This one only works on iOS, and it's actually free, but what it allows you to do is to use your camera, the front and the back camera of your device. So here you see an example of this YouTube star talking with her sister, but she's able to interview and record with both cameras on at the same time. So rather than having a 2-camera setup, you're able to use the one device to record front and back. We can't do this right now because of the pandemic, but it's fun to do with the kids, or if you're playing or experimenting, or you're interviewing your spouse maybe. This could be a tool that you add in the near future. There are lots of other tools. This one's called Pixomatic. So here you can see my son when he was little, Dante. He has lots of hair, and this was the old way. Before I had removed backgrounds, I wanted to silhouette him. So in this tool, I can use my finger to move around the object and color it in, and then it will silhouette that object. It'll upload it to the cloud, grab it, and it'll clean it up, and then I can go in and zoom in. But if you're a old timer like me and you did this in Photoshop over the years, this could take an hour to do it really precisely, and just to have that ability to quickly silhouette. And Adobe Photoshop now has this ability built in using their AI model as well. But this is a free app that you can download on your phone, and that really helps to move things around. Autodesk Sketchbook is another great app. If you want to do some illustrations, looking for a way on your iPad or your Android device, it'll sync back to your computer. So very cool as well. If you're getting into 3D, there's a great product called UMake, which allows you to build 3D models all on a tablet, which blows my mind, because in the old days, we bring 2 crates of equipment to do that same thing, and it would cost $100,000. And now I'm able to do it on a couple $100 tablet to be able to move through. With video, there are great apps now that are built into our phones or our tablets. I like Adobe Premiere Rush because I'm a Creative Suite owner or licensee. So I can take whatever I'm working on my phone or tablet and move it. It'll sync from my device back to my computer, and I can open it up and work with that. It works on your phone, your tablet, or your computer. There are other apps too that are out there. So TouchScast Studio allows you to take an iPad as an example, and a phone, and set up a 2-camera system, and it allows you all from your tablet to sync and swap out. You can also use an app like OBS Studio to connect to multiple cameras, and it all depends on your setup and what you're doing. My job is to kind of introduce you to these different tools, and your job is to set up some time to play and experiment over the next couple of weeks, and pick one or two tools to experiment with every day. Another really great app is Explain Everything, and what this app allows you to do is quickly annotate. So I'm going to try something new today, and we're going to switch over, and I happen to have an iPad over here. This is real, not recorded. So if I open up Explain Everything, when you launch the app, you have the ability to go in and say new project. So it's kind of like PowerPoint. And what's cool about this app is that you can actually record audio as well as video, as well as whatever you're illustrating on the screen. So I'm going to say, go ahead and open a blank canvas. I've got my tools along the left. I can make it white, green, black, whatever. And when I hit record, you'll actually see the meter recording my audio. And it's going to ask me, it's the first time I'm doing it on this device, to record. I can grab the pencil tool and I can start to write something. And it's not letting me do it. Open. Oops. There we go. So I'm going to write hello. And if I hit stop and I hit rewind, you'll actually see that as I'm talking, it records the audio, but it also records that handwriting. And what's really cool about this is that as you walk through that process, you're able to take that recording and share it with another user. So you can use this in training. It records as an MP4. So here you see an example of me editing on my phone the Apple website. So I can actually bring up a browser window, and I can actually go in and rotate that object or work with it. My pencil wasn't working because I was using the wrong one. I've got two pencils on my desk. But I can also annotate it. So as you're recording, you're able to go in and share. So I can give quick feedback on my review of a course, of my review of a design, and I can send that really quick to someone, all from my tablet, which is very freeing because I don't have to be tied into several products, and I'm able to do it all in one. What's also great is that I can take something and record it or highlight it. So I took some video from the ATD live event last year, pre-pandemic, and they did a really interesting thing with their stages where they allowed everyone to kind of walk around with headsets, and you were able to switch the channel to the speaker that you wanted to hear. Here's me annotating it, so just showing how you can tape yourself if you want to, illustrating or talking about it. So this is the roof above me where I was showing a light and just showing some patterns and some notes there. So very cool. Let's Explain Everything. It runs a couple dollars a month. You can download it for free to play with on your iOS or Android device. It works on a phone or tablet. Adobe Capture is free. It works on your iOS or Android device as well. It allows you to use your built-in camera, point it at something, and it'll pull the color palette. This is great when someone shows something on screen and you want to figure out what are the colors that they're using. You're able to point and grab. You can save that, or you can screen grab it if you're not a Creative Suite member. It also allows you to recognize the fonts. So if I point at a brochure or at a screen and I want to know what that font is, I can say, tell me that, and it will actually recognize that and give me the list of fonts that it could be. So here you see an example from a hotel that we were staying at where they're talking about being pampered. So I'm just going to highlight that, select an area, and then it will convert it and tell you what it is. And this is all free. Very cool, very powerful. And if you're not familiar with fonts, this is a great way to learn what fonts are being used. And if you have something on a TV that you want to grab, also great, because you can learn more about, I want to use that in my next product or project that we're working on. This one blows my mind. It's a tool that we discovered last year called Descript. And if you go to descript.com, you can download it for Mac or Windows. This will allow you to record audio or upload audio. It automatically transcribes it. But the magic part is it allows you to edit the text. So as you edit the copy, it will automatically upload or edit the audio. So if I say or the, or I say a word that I shouldn't have, I can just highlight the word, delete it, and it automatically pulls it out of the audio. That doesn't mean that you don't need to massage or edit your content, but it's so much easier rather than looking at the sound wave and trying to figure out where it is. So the two are connected. You can also collaborate as a team, and it makes it really easy to connect those objects together. Highly recommend checking it out. TechSmith also has a program called Audiate, which is very similar to this and does a little bit different. Descript is also working on video. So if I record audio and I want to change it, it will actually allow the system to change the audio. So if I say, Monday is my favorite day. And I'm like, no, 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 I meant to say Friday. I can actually type in the word Friday. And if the system has enough audio reference material, it will simulate my voice. That's not legal today. So there's some issues there, and they're testing that in beta, but it's just so cool to think about the different possibilities of what's coming down the pike. So some of the other tools that we have are ebooks, and if you haven't played with this is a great way to connect with learners and make it easier for them to learn about the different possibilities that are out there. So I'm going to jump into, and there's a couple other things that you'll be able to play with in our tools. Looking at augmented reality, this is another hot subject, but I love Google Translate, and what's really cool about that is that if you hit the camera button, you're able to auto-translate just by pointing your camera at something. So here you see an example of a learning site that helps kids to write better, and some of the kids are Spanish-speaking, so they're able to point at that document, and it will convert in real time, matching the font and the look to that other area. So this is a great way to be able to work with content and or help someone. So if when we get to travel again, hopefully we'll get to travel to wherever you want to go. And if you need to speak or translate from one language to another, this allows you to do it in real time. And it's a great example of what the possibility is within augmented reality. Another really cool app to play with is Leo app, which is free to download. And here you see an example from a hotel room where you can measure where the floor is, and then you can drop in a 3D object. And then just by moving yourself and your camera, you'll see that as you move the camera, it'll allow you to see that 3D object from the different sides. So lots of different possibilities, lots of cool things. Adobe has a great product called Aero, A-E-R-O. So here you see an example of my basement desk back at home. And I dropped in that background of the toy shelves and that little character, but it looks so real that, you know, the dirt and the you know, the not cleanliness of that object makes it look fit in perfectly in my basement desk. And you're able to move and reposition, and it looks so real. So if you're working with objects where you need to mix those together, great way to do that. One other tool I want to mention really quick, if you haven't had the opportunity to play with an Oculus Quest, this is a great way to get jump started, especially when we're all stuck within our pandemic places. $300 allows you to get a device where 2 years ago, this would have cost about $2,000. This plugs into your phone wirelessly. And this is one of my favorite apps called Tilt Brush, which is now open source. And it allows you to paint using that headset with the controllers. And we've done this with kids, in science fairs and so on. And it's so amazing to see how they do it. But if you want to look and play and start to experiment with learning and augmented or virtual reality, great way to kind of mix those different tools together. So hopefully you feel powered up from some of those resources that we shared. I'm going to share a couple different links with you. If you go to sealworks.team/TLDC day 2, I'm going to go ahead and upload that link into the channel here. I'm going to actually put 2. And the paper resource, the second one, that is a link to this document, which has all the different programs that we talked about, a couple that we didn't get to, but it'll link you to the different apps for your phone or your tablet. And I tried to indicate it's Mac, Windows, Android, iOS, so you can get to the right spot. There's also a link to the Miro site. And if you haven't tried Miro, this is a great opportunity. I put in all of the slides within Miro. And what I'd love you guys to do over the next week after the event today is you can add a sticky note and add a note about, what do you like, or what did you try and did it work for you, or any questions you have, and we'll keep an eye on that. And you can see that as people are joining, we've got 11 people that clicked the link so far, they'll start to get in there, and you can zoom way in. So down here in audio and video, you can see some of the different tools, and I'll add the links in here as well. But it's a great way to brainstorm and collaborate. If anyone is interested more in learning about how this works, happy to share, because it's really helped our team to be just like we're in the same room. So with that, I'm going to wrap. I'll hang out on the chat area for a couple of minutes if anyone has a question. You can also reach me via email or on Twitter. I think Lewis is popping back in. Hi, to wrap up.
This is crazy. Just all of this stuff. Every time after you do any of these types of sessions, this is how I feel. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah, you
remember, just try once.
Exactly.
Start slow.
Yeah. You gotta and so everybody, you gotta sit with this stuff, really check out those links, give yourself time, take a break, and Think about what you saw.
One at a time.
Yeah, Nick always has really, really amazing stuff to offer. So much value in this session alone. Thank you so much for doing this, Nick. How can people get a hold of you?
You can reach me on Twitter, Nick Floro, or via email. It's just nick@sailworks.com. There's a link at the bottom if you have a question or want to connect. Happy to try to brainstorm and make the community better.
Yeah, Nick.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the most generous people in L&D. You are a guild master. Wait, is it guild meister or guild master? I think we, yeah.
I go master. We call them Jedis now. Okay.
Yeah, like Gitsaul says, we are Floroed. Were you the one that came up with that, Gitsaul? I remember when you, I remember seeing that somewhere once. So thanks again, Nick.
Thank you.